Hi everyone, it's Greg from the Rusty Fig, and today I'm going to talk you through double potting your indoor plants. So what I'm going to do is, before I get into any of the practical steps of showing you what you can do, I just want to briefly talk about why you need to consider double potting your indoor plants. The first reason is it makes it easy to change pots. It's nice within different rooms to have different styles, looks, colors, and it's great to be able to move your trees into or plants into different rooms in the house. So that is probably one of the biggest reasons. The second reason why you want to look at double potting your plants is for control. When you have a plant in one pot, which is the main pot that you use, you can control the fertilizer, the water, everything that you normally would, and you can lift it up, feel the drainage, feel the weight. It gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of knowing the status of the plant. The third reason you can double pot your plants is because sometimes you see a beautiful pot and it doesn't have drainage holes at the bottom. It's just a pot. That's what most of the pots that I'm going to show you and most of the beautiful display pots are. They are just solid pots with no drainage holes. And that's one of the big reasons why is there's a lot more flexibility in terms of what you can use them for. I just want to briefly touch on the different types of pots you get, which is pretty much two. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but in essence you get a pot that has drainage holes, which you can plant a plant into. And then you have a display pot, which is just solid at the bottom and no drainage holes. And obviously, you cannot plant anything in there. It will drown, it will die of oxygen deprivation. You just simply cannot do that. So, mainly drainage holes, non drainage holes. Ones with drainage holes you can still use as double potted pots. You just need to be careful with watering, which we'll get into. Okay, so if we take a look at this little monstera, little dwarf monstera, it's a beautiful plant in quite a nice pot, and it looks pretty cozy in there. And if you see what I mean by double potting, all that it is a pot in a pot. There's no drainage holes in it, so you literally just pop it in, and that's now ready to go into any room in the house. So a few things to consider if you look at a pot like this, for instance, is it is too wide and too deep for the plant. So when you can see when it sits level, it doesn't look right. So what you need to do is you need to find something to level it, step one. Step two is then to close up the edges. So what we like to do is you can use at the bottom, you can fill the pot up with sand, stones, anything that is solid that's not going to retain moisture. And the reason for that is if you have a plant that you're going to water in the pot, obviously that's going to run out the bottom, that's going to run into the pot, and because there are no drainage holes at the bottom, the water is going to sit in the pot round about here. So if you lift it off the bottom of the pot a little bit, you don't want it to be sitting on top of anything that's going to retain moisture. So no bark chips, no pieces of wood, blocks of wood to lift it. Nothing like that that can retain moisture, because if you can retain moisture, it's dark, it gets warm, you're going to have mold issues. And then you don't want mold at the base of the plant either. Then you start attracting other things that gets into the roots of the plant. It's just generally not a good idea. And then what you can do is, as you can see here up close, I can fit my finger in completely. So what you can do here is you can fill it with stones. You get really nice decorative stones, white ones, a range of different colors, sizes, textures. So you can either fill just the edge up using a bigger stone, or what you do is once you have it at the desired height, you can actually fill up the sides until it fills up. The pot will be heavy. If you don't plan on removing the inside plant for watering, then that's okay. The other option, depending on the type of plant you have, is to use sphagnum moss or any other type of moss to put around the top. Something else that looks really nice and natural is fine mulch. You can put that in there. There's rooibos mulch, which is a nice red color. And then to show you the effects of double potting, you can see how easy it is if we take this fiddly fig that's in a lovely wooden pot. So simple, pop it in, it's the perfect size. We don't need to do anything to the bottom. There's also, you can see, a drainage hole. But then what we can do is we can mix and match. So if we're not so sure about that one, we can pop that plant in and we can see what that looks like. Not so sure. So what that allows us to do is to actually play around with a lot of different looks, feels, designs. Here is one of the plants that is particularly well suited to this pot. This is a Ficus elastica, the Belize version. You can see a fiery red with then a terracotta and red pot as well, which looks quite nice. But then we can also take something like this, which is a solid cement pot, and we can pop it in there as well, and you'll see it's got a completely different feel. There's another terracotta, another cement one in the background. If we bring that in close, and then if we lift this one out, we pop that in there, you can see this has now got a completely different and dramatic effect. And this is the joy of double potting. It allows you flexibility in design, in layouts, and experimentation. It's just really nice to be able to do. So what you can do with the watering of these plants is one of two things. You can either leave them in here completely, raise them, put whatever decorative covering you want to on the top, and then water them in here. Then you need to just make sure that the water level is never really high, and lengthen the level of your watering intervals, because if there is water at the bottom, it will be getting moisture. So you need to be a lot more mindful of water and moisture levels. You use a meter, a probe, just to get a really good idea of the actual water levels in the plant. Then the other option is to use it as, pick it up, put all your plants outside, water them until it's run through. Once it's run through, pop them back in the pot, and off you go. That is what we prefer to do, just because once again you have more control. That one doesn't fit quite right. And as soon as you have more control, you can control the health of the plant a lot more accurately. So in a nutshell, that's double potting your plants. Very basic, very effective technique that can make a big visual impact and very easy to do. If you have any ideas around double potting, you have any recommendations, you want to show off some of your great repotted, double potted plants, please send them through to us. Let us have a look. Let us share them. It would be great if you can join us on this journey. If you can subscribe, you can get onto our social channels and contribute and help us along this journey. We want to continue to give you tips and tricks and advice. So yeah, follow us, join us, subscribe, and hope you enjoy the next one.